I joined TikTok in 2020. I don't know what happened. A friend sent me a funny video early in the afternoon, and I was only supposed to watch that video. And next thing you know, it was late at night, and I just wasted an entire day of just scrolling and watching funny videos, thinking, hey, I can do that too. Why not? And so I did. I created the account. I created the account in July of that night, formerly Million Dollar Geek. I always loved that name. It's legendary. It's still my email address, and I still have that Twitter account under that name. It was the name used for just about everything. All right, so backstory on that name. If you do remember, good on you. But there was a movie in 2004 called Million Dollar Baby. I used to love that movie. It was a boxing movie. Probably my favorite boxing movie since Rocky. I've seen others since, but when it came down to picking my name on MySpace, yes, MySpace. I remember having watched this movie and I named myself Million Dollar Geek. Because why not? Fast forward to 2010. I made a Tumblr account by that name. Another account that's dead, just like Instagram or Twitter. Million Dollar Geek, Million Dollar Geek. Yeah, sure, why not? Fast forward again to 2014. I'm fast forwarding throughout the entire time I'm doing this. This is just basic stuff, facts that you like don't need to know at all. I've used this name for 10 years now. I thought it was time for a change. I thought I had evolved from just being Million Dollar Geek, and I'm already using MDG on all other accounts. So I said, let's change this one up for a bit. I chose Evolution of a Geek because it portrayed me as someone who would always evolve. While everyone was worried about Yahoo buying out Tumblr and taking out all the porn stuff and then leaving, I stuck around because I wanted Tumblr to be my home. Evolution of a Geek. Evolution of a Geek. I'm already massacring my name. Evolution of a Geek, the blog, with me just basically shit posting. A lot of shit post about my workouts, the challenges that I would face each day, the new friends that I made on that account. Everything from the rise to the downfall. Hip arthritis, knee injuries, muscle spasms, frozen shoulders, getting fired from my jobs, diabetes, mental health. All of that was related to that blog. If I wasn't on Tumblr, I was on TikTok. And if I wasn't on TikTok, I was on Tumblr. Not necessarily at the same time, but it worked out for me. Again, I left TikTok in September of 2022. I needed the time off. I wanted to take a break. All that year, I wasn't doing good. I kept coming in, kept leaving, coming in again, leaving. Wasn't that the year that I was supposed to celebrate the podcast? That I was starting the podcast? Yes, that was the year that I started the podcast. So, you know, I kept coming in. I left to do the podcast again. I was going to take a 2 week break and work on the podcast, but those 2 weeks ended up being a month long, and that month long ended up being 3 months. A whole year and a half later, here I am because I thought I didn't know how to do this again. I didn't want to come back, and it just feels like that right now. I don't know how to do this. I don't. I want to know, but I don't know how to do this again. If you want to know how I did during those 3 months, check out the podcast from September to January. I thrived. Why January? Because once January hit, Tumblr once a day again. Tumblr once again updated us with a new plaything, a new device for me. Tumblr Live was born. I was on there nightly for a whole year, with the exception of May. I went on vacation, but I was on there consistently learning, watching, adapting. It's what I do. I adapt. I adapt to change. I like to change. I thrive on change. So while mostly everyone that was there were digging for diamonds and coming from other apps to supposedly take over, I was watching. I was told, be the change you want it to be. I was the change. The reason I was watching was because I wanted to be different from the norm and what everyone was doing, which was basically smoking and drinking and being boring. Well, not necessarily boring. They had their little friends with their little boxes. I, on the other hand, wasn't about that. What was the difference, you ask? I ignored everyone and recorded my podcast on the stream. Instead of promising people the top spot on Leaderboard of Diamonds, I told them I would shout them out on the podcast. Just stop in, hang out with me, be a supporter, listen to me talk, hang out with me, vibe with me. That's all you need to do. Later, I would include games like Incoherent, Family Feud, and Would You Rather. Fridays were for EDM playlist. And usually, I would ask people, tell me your favorite song. Tell me a song that means a lot to you. And they would do it. I had a following, so to speak. I had a support system. Even other people that are podcasters and were streaming, I would help them out. Cloudy from the Nose that sent this podcast. She's around here on TikTok also. Weezy as Soup from the Life of 30-Year-Old podcast. And I Beloved Psy from the Sweet Life pod. We all networked. I shout those people out at the end of every episode. I still do. I even have an adult website sponsoring me. Get 20% off on adult toys when you enter discount code EVO at pleasurepassport.shop. That's EVO, EVO. Link will be in the show notes. Tumblr Live might have been a bad thing for some people, maybe about 80% of the Tumblr community, because the other 20 were sure using it and wanting to be a part of something. I was a part of that. I told you I adapt. I'm not going to follow everybody. In a community full of streamers that weren't a part of the Tumblr community anyway, I made sure I was one of those people to represent for them, for Tumblr. I said this before and I'll keep saying it until the cows come home. But Tumblr Live was something I wanted to look forward to. Welcome back, Father's Behavior Squad. I'm Evo, and you are listening to a brand spanking new episode of From Under the Apron live on TikTok. So there's a new elephant in the room. Suddenly, this place has become a zoo with elephants. But there's a new elephant in this room. It's the mother of all elephants. It's Dumbo's mother, perhaps. If this was a thing, it'd be Dumbo's mom. If you woke up February 1st and found out all your audio videos had been muted, well, you're not the only one. I had to hide about 75% of my page because there's like a few. There were some songs. There were some lip sync. There was a lot of lip syncing songs. There was a lot of Friends shows and all that stuff. Um, so yeah. So here's what happened, and this comes from Ben Cesario from the New York Times. I will surely have the article, this article in the show notes, so y'all can read it if you choose to. He says TikTok users woke up Thursday and discovered that many videos using songs by stars like Taylor Swift, Lana Del Rey, Drake, and Ariana Grande had gone silent after a public brawl between the Talk and Universal Music Group. The world's largest music company. It was a startling turn of events for the app's creators and users, as well as for the music business, where heated negotiations over copyright permissions and royalty terms sometimes boil over into public view, but rarely reach what one industry publication called the nuclear option. The full scale removal of content from one of music's biggest and most influential online outlets. Why did Universal Music leave? On Tuesday, Universal Music, the global giant that released music by hundreds of major artists, published a forceful open letter at the end of his contract with the social media platform neared. Universal said that if the Talk, which is owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, had not adequately addressed Universal's concerns over AI generated music on the platform, and that it would not agree to what Universal considered a satisfactory royalty rate. Ultimately, the Talk is trying to build a music based business, the label said, without paying fair value for the music. Universal noted that its existing deal with the Talk was set to expire on Wednesday and that the label said it would revoke its license, the legal permissions to use its music, if an agreement was not reached. The deadline came and went, and Talk confirmed early Thursday that it had begun removing access to Universal's vast catalog of songs. Wait, so you're telling me 75% of videos have been muted? For what reason? What is Universal and which artists are involved? Universal is the biggest of the three major music conglomerates. The others are Sony and Warner that have deals with thousands of music stars to release their music. Besides Swift and Drake, its label's biggest names include Olivia Rodrigo, Morgan Wallen, Nicki Minaj, Billie Eilish, Noah Kahan, Post Malone, and Lorde, and has deals with K-pop giants like Stray Kids and New Jeans. The company's label include Interscope, Jeff Island, Def Jam, Capitol, Motown, Blue Note, and Republic, and it also has an extensive music published division for songwriters. Universal's chief executive Lucian Grainge is a seasoned talent scout who, for more than a decade, has been one of the industry's dominant corporate leaders. Most years, he tends to take number one on Billboard's annual Power 100 list. This year, he is at number two behind Swift, with whom Grainge is said to have a close working relationship. Universal has been aggressive in defending its artist rights and is pursuing the best deals it can get. Last year, the company sued Thriller, another social media app, saying it had not paid licensing fees. Recently, Grainge has been outspoken about the need for controlled industry standards regarding the use of artificial intelligence in music. How will the takedowns work? When the music industry has had issues in the past with streaming outlets like Spotify and has had the ability, theoretically anyway, it's always complicated to simply yank its content. That is what happened when Warner Music fought with YouTube for 9 months in 2008 and 2009. But the Talk is different. On the other app, users upload their own video clips and can draw from an audio library. Much of it is supplied by labels like Universal to add background sounds. Artists and record labels also add their own content. To comply with Universal withdrawals, Talk removed the company's songs from its music library, which made those songs unavailable for new clips. For older videos that had already had music from Universal in them, Talk on Thursday began muting the clips, deleting the audio entirely, leaving silent videos. That is what happened with videos from celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as well as on countless others, many including explanatories like "This sound isn't available." On the official pages for artists like Swift, the sections that used carry dozens of songs for users to feature went largely blank. In some cases, brief snippets or user-generated mixes remained. The full process of removal is expected to take at least several days. A TikTok representative on Thursday did not say how many videos would be affected by Universal's withdrawal, but it could conceivably be millions. Why is it happening? In some ways, it's an example of a conflict that has played out repeatedly in the media business over the last couple of decades, in which the innovations of tech companies and sometimes the creativity of rule-skirting users has run up against the music industry's demands for control and fair compensation. This tension has been a driving force in the music industry from Napster and YouTube to Pandora and now here, the Talk. Universal's concerns are real and reflect some of the most urgent challenges in the music business today. Artists need to make a decent living. The parameters of modern licensing contracts, the role of artificial intelligence, and in recent years, music companies have begun to adjust to the reality that music fans' attention is not solely focused on jukebox type streaming outlets like Spotify or Apple Music, but also on an array of social platforms like the Talk, where music may just be just one attraction. For the talk, as with any social media company, the issue may involve how much leverage it is willing to relinquish to any single content partner. As important as music as is on talk, in the past the company has said music is at the heart of the talk experience. It does not represent the entirety of the experience on the app. As any talk user knows, a song could simply be the audio wallpaper for a makeup tutorial or a plumbing how-to guide. How might this affect musicians? This is a key considering from Universal, which says it is pursuing a better deal for its acts. At the same time, the longer dispute drags on, the more it may hurt artists, at least in the short term. Talk is a vital promotional outlet, and a generation of young fans now rely on the app to discover music, old and new. Some of the most vital moments in music in recent years happened on Talk, from the explosion of Lil Nas X, Old Town Road, and Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license, to the revival of Fleetwood Mac's Dreams. For many artists today, being absent from Talk would be like Madonna having a video disappear from MTV in the 1980s. Just imagine not being able to listen to like a virgin, wow, or get into the groove, or any of those Madonna hits. At the same time, though, artists are keenly aware of the need to secure better deals for their music and of the low rates they face across the streaming landscape. That is crazy. Talk to an artist for 2 minutes about the business and they will tell you they should make more money from streaming. They just do not want to sacrifice promotion or their connections to fans in the process. So, what happens now? We wait to see who blinks. Universal's rosters of stars gives it leverage, and losing access to a library of thousands of the world's most popular songs is not good for the talk. Apps with a music component rely on the licensing arrangements with entertainment companies, and users expect to have a broad selection. On the other hand, Talk has licensing deals with many other companies, and users could soon figure out that they could lose access to a Lady Gaga song. They could pick one from, say, Dua Lipa, a Warner artist, instead. The greatest power, though, may reside with Universal's artists, especially those who have new music to hype. If they feel that the conflict is starting to hurt them more than a new deal could help, they will make it known. Link to this article will be in the show notes.
Movies and feelings. Pop, pop. Bring Your Own Popcorn is a podcast that dives into people and the movies who love them. Let us preach to your choir or stoke your ire as we spiral down memory lane with cult classics, Jurassics, and other genres that rhyme with traffic. What we lack in education, we make up for with comedy, compassion, and camaraderie. I'm your host, Mixtape Majesty, inviting you to join me and an assortment of wonderful guests on fine podcast apps everywhere. Bring your own popcorn.
Do you like to drink wine? Do you like to talk about your favorite things and rank them in categories? Then you have come to the right place. Welcome to The Sip List, a podcast where, you guessed it, we drink lots of wine and make lists of all our favorite things. My name's Amanda, and each week my guest and I will review a favorite wine we're drinking, or if they aren't cool enough to drink wine, then the lame beverage of their choice. And then we will rank our top 5 favorites of different things in different categories. You can expect to hear all kinds of things, from favorite horror movies to favorite Disney characters, favorite true crime books to favorite women in history. The episodes will be diverse, but they will always include wine, lists, and lots of laughs. You can find the Sip List on social media. On Facebook, just search the Sip List Pod. Be sure to like the page and join the private Facebook group for the most up-to-date info on everything that's happening. You can also find us on Instagram at the Sip List Pod. I'm really excited to bring you guys some fun and amazing content, and I hope you'll join me on this journey. And until next time, whenever life is tough, just keep sipping.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Welcome back, and we're moving right along with Glow on Netflix, Season 2, Episode 3. For those that are new, this is a recap and review podcast of the series Glow on Netflix, a show about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling that was set in the 80s. I will have bits of trivia here and there about the times that have changed with additional interviews from the creators, directors, or stars of the show throughout the years. All in all, it makes for an awesome episode. If you haven't yet watched Glow, I suggest you do so and follow along as I recap and tell you what I thought of the episode at the very end. And if you haven't yet, check out episode 123, where I talk about the first season and pilot episode of Glow if you want to go back and listen. Episode 3 is titled Concerned Women of America. It was directed by Kate Dennis, who's also directed episodes of New Amsterdam, the 2018 TV series Heathers, and 3 episodes of The Tick, as well as 4 episodes of Run. It was written by Sasha Rothschild, who's been a producer of the show for all 3 seasons of Glow. She executive produced The Bold Type and executive producer on The Babysitters Club and XO Kitty. Synopsis: Ruth connects with a fellow film lover and helps Debbie cook up a PSA to appease an angry women's group. Cherry struggles on the set of her new show. Alright, so the show cold opens on an action sequence. It's Cherry Bang hitting a superhero landing. She is in hot pursuit of a criminal and she slides on the roof of a car to get the guy. She slams his head on the hood of the car and her partner shows up out of breath saying she is glad that one of them is in good shape. She takes out a pair of handcuffs and asks Cherry if she wants to do the honors. The thief explains that he has rights, and Chambers tells him the only right he has now is to stay silent. She pauses for a bit as Detective Gold is staring right at her and then adds, "Remain silent. You have the right to remain silent." You hear cut, and the camera slowly backs away to everyone on the set annoyed, and the director of the Chambers and Gold show, Rick Hollander, looking rather perturbed. Susie, the hairstylist played by Tara Copeland, goes to Cherry to fix her hair. Cherry asks Susie if the director liked that one, and Susie tells her he's British and that it was hard to tell. The Glow logo appears on the screen. The show opens back up on Glenn Klitnick is in Sam's office with Bash and Debbie explaining to them about the concerned women of America. He tells them that they are a small but powerful group and they feel that Glow is a little bit sexual, especially for children that might be watching. Me, right here. Me. I think he's talking about, I was one of those children that I was watching. But it wasn't sexual. My mom just kind of like walked in on, something rarely sexual. Come on. She was just picking up something from the ground and like, whoa. Anyway, no. It was not sexual at all. Just, I was grounded, but, just, it wasn't at all. Moving right along. is a little bit sexual, especially with children that might be watching, plus the senseless violence and the tasteless sexuality. Again with the sexuality. What's wrong with it? There's nothing. There was nothing sexual about it. He continues to read, saying that the promotion of the cult seen on Glow can have a lasting and dangerous effect on the youth of this country. Sounds kind of spicy. Yes, yeah. Sam asks who's promoting the occult, and Devi and Bash answer at the same time. Sheila. Glenn tells them that CWA lobbies for more wholesome content, and if they don't listen in some regard, they will boycott the sponsors. Sam asks if they don't bend over, they're going to cancel Patio Town. Glenn says not bend over, maybe hunch a little bit. Everyone in the room giggles for a little bit except for Sam, who finds it disrespectful and is offended by this. Glenn tells them this can easily be fixed, and that would be to throw in a positive message or two showing their characters promoting great American values to the general public. Sam says, you mean a fucking public service announcement? Bash jumps in and says, that's great, I thought you were going to tell us to change the whole show. No more wrestling everyone in turtlenecks. Devi intervenes and tries to get in character as Liberty Bell by saying she could be more than up for the task, but changes her mind and goes back to Devi by finishing her sentence saying, setting an example for children. Sam says that they will get it done. Glenn tells him that he knows he will. Bash walks Glenn out the door as he says, good work, team. Alright, the Concerned Women of America, I think they might have had something to do with when I was trying to watch it also. The CWA is a socially conservative and evangelical Christian nonprofit women's legislative action committee in the United States, headquartered in Washington, D.C. Of course it is. The CWA is involved in social and political movements through which it aims to incorporate Christian ideology. The group is primarily led by wealth interest. I am not going to mess with them. The group was founded in San Diego, California in 1978 by Beverly LaHaye, whose husband, Timothy LaHaye, was an evangelical Christian minister and author of The Battle for the Mind, as well as co-author of the Left Behind series. That's why. Again, not going to mess with that. The CWA identifies itself as an amalgam of policy experts and activists with an anti-feminist approach to politics. No comment. Back to the show. Sam tells the group he is not wasting today on this. Bash says that all we need now is for one of our good girls to deliver a clear and positive message and a kick-ass slogan like the thrill can kill or users are for losers. Debbie says personally this is a great opportunity. If KDTV likes a spot, they can run it through the other shows and it's free press for them. Sam says okay and tells Debbie she's a producer now and she can write it up and give it to him and he can come in and shoot whatever pretty shit she would like to say for 60 seconds. Debbie asks if she has a budget. Sam says no, but she can use his typewriter. Debbie seems excited and Sam walks out the door. Carmen's in the ring watching over Yolanda wrestling and giving her tips. She notices Justine coming into the gym upset about her first week of high school. Jenny tells her she's supposed to hate high school and asks her if she's ready for her bio quiz. Justine says it's tomorrow, but she'll probably ditch. Melrose, who is on the floor laying down, says that she would like to get up to say hi, but she is constipated, and then rubs her stomach, wanting to know if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. Rhonda asks if she can sing to Melrose's stomach, and she starts singing, poop baby, come out in a flash, poop baby, into the toilet, make a big splash. Alright. Jenny and Justine both stare at each other in disgust. Rhonda slaps Melrose's stomach. Jenny tells... What? Rhonda slaps Melrose's stomach. Jenny tells Melrose that her grandma had a secret family remedy and it worked every time. Melrose sits up and is about to ask what it is, but Jenny then says she wants something in return. Rhonda asks what does Jenny want in return, and she tells her that pink jacket Melrose is wearing. Melrose says no, this is her lucky pink jacket. Last time she wore it, Scott Baio hit on her and she made out with his cousin. Let me rephrase that. She wore it last time. Melrose says no, this is her lucky pink jacket. Last time she wore it, Scott Baio hit on her and she made out with his cousin. Sam turns around and tells everybody to shut up. They're about to film, and if they can't shut up, then get the fuck out of the gym. He notices Justine. He asks her how school was, to which she gets annoyed. He yells at least he's asking. Outside, Ruth is grabbing a donut from catering. Russell runs up to Ruth, says hi to her, and she asks if they're shooting today or did he come for the stale donuts. Russell says he is there to try to ask her out on a date again, and one she will not want to say no to. He tells her about a Ruth Gordon Film Festival tomorrow night. Ruth says God rest her insanely talented soul. Russell says it's kind of like a West Coast memorial, and he has 2 tickets, and rumor has it that Katharine Hepburn will be there. Ruth says Hepburn never goes anywhere. But Russell says she'll do it for Ruth Gordon's ghost. Ruth asks how does he know she likes Katharine Hepburn. Russell says he's been paying attention to her for 6 weeks. Oh, he's not stalking at all. Ruth says he doesn't know. Dating someone at work is kind of messy. Russell says it can be, but it can also be neat and compartmentalized and discreet. He says, think of it this way. Ruth Gordon died so that they can go on this date, and they should honor her ultimate sacrifice. Ruth asks if they should conceive a satanic child. Russell is confused by that question, but Ruth tells him that it's her way of saying yes. He asked if she said yes, and she says yes again. That's so freaking weird. Alright, he didn't even get the joke. He didn't get the reference, so he's not really a Ruth Gordon fan. And here's a reference. Ruth Gordon Jones, from October 30th, 1896, passed away August 28th, 1985. So season 2 is around August, September, around there. Ruth Gordon Jones was an American actress, screenwriter, and playwright. She began her career performing on Broadway at age 19. Known for her nasal voice and distinctive personality, Gordon gained international recognition and critical acclaim for film roles that continued her into her 70s and 80s. Her late work included performance in Rosemary's Baby, hence the Satanic Child reference that Russell didn't even get. And in 1979, she was on an episode of Taxi, which they will reference later on. In addition to her acting career, Gordon wrote numerous plays, films, scripts, and books, most notably co-writing the screenplay for the 1949 film Adam's Rib. Gordon won an Academy Award, a Primetime Emmy, and 2 Golden Globe Awards for her acting, as well as 3 Academy Award nominations for her writing. Ruth and Russell continue flirting until Debbie shows up and stares at Russell, calling him Camera Guy. Russell answers with Star, whose name I haven't learned, and smiles. Debbie looks up at him and down. Debbie looks at him up and down and says her name is Debbie as she pours herself a drink. He dismisses himself and walks away. Debbie says that he looks like an extra from Taxi. And there's that shout out to Taxi again for Ruth Gordon. Then says she keeps forgetting to eat as she grabs a donut, telling Ruth that she's wearing all the hats today. Actor, producer, and writer. Debbie explains that Sam and Bash asked her to conceptualize a PSA just to appease some angry women. Ruth asks Debbie if she needs help. Debbie says, yeah, sure, if she's free. The scene opens up again in Sam's office. Debbie is about to use the typewriter, but she blows on the keyboard, telling Ruth to blow off all the coke from it. Ruth tells her that that's a good thinking. They start coming up with ideas, with Ruth saying that they should do a good touch, bad touch scenario. A good touch meaning a slight hug, and bad touch meaning she grabs her own crotch. Yeah! That was weird. Debbie asked how does that mitigate the idea that glow is too sexy. Ruth says or they could go with gonorrhea or yeast infection if you don't pee right away. Okay. Debbie suggests unwanted pregnancy. Ruth, slightly uncomfortable with that comment, stays silent. You know, there was that unwanted pregnancy episode. But Debbie says like teen pregnancy. Ruth says it's a great idea, Debbie says perfect as she tries to use the typewriter, and she asks Ruth if she knows how to use the typewriter. Cut to Sheila typing 50 words per minute to Ruth and Debbie's story with a clear message about a young high school girl whose future is in jeopardy because she's pregnant. They want to use a before and after effect. Before she gets pregnant, she is with her boyfriend who is telling her if she really loves him, she would want to get close to him as possible. Debbie then adds in, how can something that feels so right be wrong? Yes, they used in that accent also. Whatever. They're trying to have a bra moment. They cut to the big reveal that this girl has a chance to save herself and say no to sex and get that high school diploma. Sheila finishes typing everything and hands them the script. Hey, it's Evo. We're going to get back to the episode you're listening to, but first, let me tell you about Dark Fate Creations. Dark Fate Creations are candles that are vibrant, colorful, marble tops, amazing, mouth-watering fragrances, fueled by lovely braided cotton wicks. Paper threads woven into every cotton wick for a clean, romantic, slow, and consistent burn. Each candle is unique from the next as they are hand-mixed and hand-poured right in Grass Valley, California. They use only coconut and soy waxes for a safer, cleaner, and longer burn time. That's almost 72 hours. That's like binging on all 130 episodes of the podcast. All fragrance blends have been heavily researched. Dark Fate Creations not only care about the look, fragrance, and quality of their candles and their other products, but also the effects they have in their customers' homes. So go to darkfatecreations.com. The link will be in the show notes.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Dawn.
And if you've ever watched a TV show and thought to yourself, oh my god, that season finale plot twist was absolutely bonkers.
Or seen a movie and thought, wow, I need to talk to somebody about this train wreck immediately.
Then we think you'll fit right in with our podcast, I Hate It, Let's Watch It. We watch TV shows like Riverdale and Emily in Paris.
And movies like Deep Water, Killer Sofa, Rubber, and Deadly Illusions. And we give them the total rinsing they deserve.
It's basically group therapy for movie masochists. So come check us out wherever you stream podcasts.
In a world where true crime meets the supernatural and the unexplained.
Where true crime and chills go hand in hand.
Welcome to Total Conundrum, the podcast that explores the dark, the eerie, and the downright mysterious.
Join us as we embark on a spine-tingling journey through the mysteries that keep you up at night.
We're diving deep into true crime stories, uncovering the most baffling cases, and exploring the twisted minds behind them.
But we don't stop there. We're also exploring the paranormal, from haunted houses to cryptids and all the creepy things that go bump in the night. Get ready for some supernatural thrills.
And what sets us apart? Prepare for a dose of dark humor as we navigate through the creepy and bizarre.
We've got it all. Bone-chilling tales, banter, and mind-boggling conundrums. You won't know whether to scream or laugh.
So grab your favorite snack, turn down the lights, and join us for a roller coaster ride of true crime and the supernatural, sprinkled with a bit of comic banter.
Stay curious, stay captivated, and let's dive into the world of Total Conundrum.
Now available on your favorite podcast platform. Get ready to be captivated, creeped out, and cracked up with Total Conundrum.
Next scene is on the set of Chambers in Gold. Cherry is circling her lines from the script while her husband Keith approaches. He asks if the emergency is that she looks like an even sexier Whitney Houston with that hairdo. Think 1985 Whitney Houston before the Super Bowl, perhaps? I don't know. He looks around the set and says that it looks nice. Oh no, was it? I forgot which song. I just did a TikTok about it. Alright, well, never mind, it got muted. Wah, wah, wah. He looks around the set and says that it looks nice. She takes him aside and she tells him that she can't get the lines right. She learns them and then gets in front of the camera and she freezes. Keith tells her to relax. It's okay. It's going to be okay. She tells him that everybody's mad at her. People are eyeing her and talking about her behind her back. She is paranoid, but asks Keith to run it by with her. Keith agrees to do so. He looks at the line and says, she asked, really? Keith tells her he has a really good memory. Back on the set of the show, they're filming Chambers and Gold walking around the hallway of the police station while Cherry says one of her lines. They beat him so bad, if it wasn't for the birthmark on his arm, her mother wouldn't have ID'd the body. Gold tells her not to be hard on herself. She was just a kid. In a robotic monotone voice, Chambers says, still, it was her brother, the day of Michael's funeral, she vowed to become a cop. The day she took an oath to fight wrong with right. When she seen that perp today, it all came flooding back. The director, Rick Callender, douchebaggy, angrily yells, cut! Cherry is excited that she got to say all her lines right. But Rick, in a condescending tone, tells her that yes, she did. She did get her say their lines right. And then tells the crew they're doing it all again. Next scene is outside of the gym. All the girls are eating from catering, trying to take a break. Devi appears and tells them they will be starting a little earlier tomorrow because they are making a PSA about teen pregnancy. A little excited there. Devi asks Justine if she gives her a note, can she miss school tomorrow? Justine tells her she don't need a note. She's still gonna ditch this freaking bio quiz anyway. She says, fuck it, fuck the bio quiz. I got this stuff to do with them. Devi runs back inside. Artie asks if teenagers are really having sex all the time, that they have to make a PSA about it. Justine says yes. Billy and her have sex all the time, but she's on the pill, so it's fine. Melrose asks Justine if she has sex all the time. By all the time, what does she mean? Justine says most days with Billy and asks why is everyone being so weird. Melrose says because she hasn't had sex with anyone in weeks. They all agree that they haven't had sex either. Yolanda says that whatever it is contagious. She hasn't seen any bush since she got this job. Artie asks her not to be so graphic. Yolanda apologizes and says she hasn't seen any pussies since joining the straight as fuck all women's wrestling show. Is that better? And then proceeds to flick her tongue at Artie, who seems uncomfortable. Rhonda says she hasn't shagged anyone since Sam. Carmen says she masturbates in the shower, and Melrose says this is totally unacceptable. They're on TV, and none of them are getting any except maybe the teenager. They all yell like they're going to riot. Melrose asks what are they going to do about it. They're going to get fucked. Cherry walks into Susie's dressing room, her hairstylist, and sits down while another person walks in and hands Cherry new pages for the script. Cherry begins to read the script and notices they took out a few lines from the show. Susie tells her that she is changing her look. Cherry asks what's going on. Susie says they're changing Cherry's look. Cherry says they need to run this by her before they put some toxic stuff in her hair. Susie tells her she is running it by her right now and tells her just does the hair, but she hears a lot. She just does hair, but she hears a lot. She told Cherry everyone around here wants to change her character, and that includes her hair, then she wouldn't fight it, but that's just Susie. Cherry agrees and sits down for the hair change. Back at the gym, Devi hands Sam the script for the PSA. Sam tells Devi that he told her to keep it simple. What the hell is this precoital or fantasy flashback? That he doesn't know what that is. Devi tells him it's going to be simple. It's going to be 10 seconds over here, 20 seconds over there, 40 seconds in the ring. Sam says on paper, but it's going to take half a day to shoot this, and then asks who's playing the teenager. Devi says Justine. Sam asks who's going to kiss her. Devi points over to Bash, who is getting his pants undone. Sam uncomfortably disagrees to this, not wanting any of it to happen. Bash and his daughter. Devi says, don't worry, she's safe. She's on the pill. Sam cringes, not wanting to hear that also. Because, dad moment. Devi tells Sam if he wants them to waste another half a day for them to come up with another version, then be her guest. Sam says, fine, fine, walks away. Debbie says, you're welcome. Sam goes to Russell and the other cameraman Phil, played by Wyatt Nash, and tells them they're going to shoot this fast with no fancy camera movements. Russell says he copies loud and clear. Sam is the boss and not the ladies. Melrose walks up to both Russell and Phil and tells them the PSA rap party at the hotel later. Russell says that he has plans tonight as he looks over at Ruth, who overhears this and smirks. Melrose says, well, she wasn't actually talking to him anyway, but if he has some hot guy friends, send them over. Phil says he'll be there as he's putting away equipment. Melrose gives Phil the eye as she's vibing him and walks away and grabs her stomach, feeling the effects of constipation. Well, shit. Debbie is standing right next to Justine and Bash while Russell, Ruth, and Sam are directing the PSA. Debbie says teen sex might sound sexy, but a baby you're not ready for. That really can ruin your future. Ruth leads Russell into focusing on Bash giving Justine a rose, but also cupping one of her boobs. Sam yells cut and tells everyone to move on already, getting uncomfortable that Bash is the boyfriend in this situation. Again, hates it. Russell gets up from kneeling down and filming and tells Ruth that he's professional and discreet. In walks Keith, who looks for Sam and tells him that Cherry is in a bad place and that the pretentious asshole director doesn't understand her, so she's locked up in a trailer and doesn't want to come out. Sam says it's not his problem anymore. Keith looks Sam in the eye and tells him that anytime he needed Cherry, she came through for him. She taught a bunch of actresses how to wrestle that he would look like he knew what he was doing. Sam asks if now he owes her. Keith says yes. She's got a lead role and she's about to get fired and he doesn't know how to help her. Sam sighs and agrees to help. On their way out the door, he asks Debbie to oversee the last 3 seconds of her masterpiece. Debbie says yes, they got it covered. Turns to Ruth and Russell, who continue to flirt with each other by bumping heads. This leads Debbie to get annoyed even more. Yeah, discreet. Discreet. And professional. Love it. Sure, why not? Keith knocks on Cherry's trailer asking her to come out. Sam asks if she wants to talk. Cherry yells at Keith for bringing Sam. Keith tells her that he wants to help, asking her to come out. Cherry says she doesn't want to come out. Oh, somebody please come out. Keith says she doesn't have to come out, but whispers to Sam that she needs to get the fuck out of that trailer. Sam asks Cherry to let him in so that they can talk. Cherry says that she doesn't want to. She has no lines. They put all this toxic stuff in her hair, and now her scalp is on fire. Sam asks if she can just wash it out. Cherry opens the door to reveal that she can't wash it out. It's permanent. Both Keith and Sam stare at their hair, and it's supposed to be a serious scene, but a guy dressed as a rat passes by behind them, and you just can't help but laugh. Seriously. Cherry says she got this job, so she must have done something right. Sam and Keith both agree with her. Cherry then says that now no one would explain to her what the fuck she's doing wrong, and storms back into her trailer. Back at the gym, the PSA is done and being watched from Bash cupping Justine's boob to now Debbie in the ring, narrating it, saying that just when Lisa's life should be the most fun and carefree, Lisa's baby is destroying all the wonderful things her future might hold. Lisa's in the background worried while Carmen is dressed as the baby. Debbie says, here comes college. Britannica gets in the ring, gets beat up by baby Carmen, who says, poopy diaper. Baby Carmen scoops up Britannica and slams her on the mat, kicking her out of the ring. Debbie continues, perky bosom, nice figure. Melrose gets on the top rope, waving to the camera seductively. Debbie tells the audience to say goodbye as baby Carmen says no and splashes her into the corner. Debbie says, look, a fun party Lisa would love to go to. The Ozone Sisters mock themselves doing air guitar and having fun in the ring, but baby Carmen double clotheslines both of them, and airplane spins one of them, knocking both of them out of the ring. Debbie continues with, here we have international travel. Baby Carmen takes Zoya for a spin and knocks her out of the ring as well. Justine is in the corner crying while baby Carmen has ruined everything and laughs at everyone she took out. Back in Sam's office, Ruth says that it is a terrifying baby, and then we see the ending of what would have been the PSA with Justine slapping Bash with the rose and saying, no, Conrad, she's not ready to have sex because a baby could destroy her future. They all laugh while the ending shows Lisa and the rest of the Glow Girls are graduating from high school. Debbie says she's really proud of what they did. Russell then asks if they can head out. Debbie says she would love to redo her narration. Russell says that they can do that tomorrow or any time. Debbie says he can take off and Ruth and herself can stay and finish. Ruth turns to look at Debbie and asks her if he doesn't. Ruth turns to look at Debbie and asks her if she doesn't have to go home. Debbie says she has a babysitter for tonight so she can keep working. She really is set on finishing this project. However, Debbie turns to look at Russell and tells him that she hopes her date looks if the devil managed the Sizzler look. Okay, one more time. Debbie turns to look at Russell and tells him that she hopes her date likes the if the devil managed the Sizzler look. Russell looks disappointed and offended and walks out. Alright, backstory. If you were around the 80s and 90s in California, then this reference is for you. When I first watched this thing, I didn't get it, but the second time around, I remember there was a chain of restaurants called the Sizzler, with headquarters in Mission Viejo, California, with locations mainly in California, plus some in the nearby states of Washington, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Idaho, Utah, Oregon, and Puerto Rico. It is known for steak, seafood, and salad bar items. Since 2023, Sizzler restaurants outside the United States are owned by Thailand-based Minor International and are not related to the American firm. In September 2020, Sizzler USA filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy due to the COVID-19 pandemic hurting the sales. The bankruptcy filing does not affect the similarly named Minor International affiliated restaurants that are located outside the United States.
Are you struggling with a lack of access to captivating entertainment and media? Are you faced with constant judgment and ridicule from friends and family for your inability to respond appropriately to sensitive situations? If this sounds like you might be suffering from being emotionally dead inside. But it's not too late to make a change. One Nothing Podcast is a newly available treatment for being dead inside. Taken just once every 2 weeks, One Nothing could make a world of difference. By combining carefully measured dark humor to the amazing original formula of grisly fatalities, One Nothing Podcast has successfully entertained thousands of people suffering from death inside. And with access across all podcast platforms, treatment has never been more readily available. But don't trust my word. Here's some real-world testimonials from a few of our listeners currently undergoing treatment.
From consistent doses of One Nothing Podcast, my posture has greatly improved due to being kept on the edge of my seat.
The One Nothing Podcast comes on, everybody be like, shut the f*** up. I be quiet, but when the episode's over, I be talking again.
Oh my gosh, buddy. I used to be on so many medications for blood pressure, and then I listened to One Nothing Podcast's episode on Kitty Genovese, moved into an apartment on my own, and haven't needed it since. That one really got my blood pumping.
You know, listening to One Nothing Podcast, I'm not constipated anymore. I'm just full of shit.
So what's stopping you from great entertainment?
One Nothing Podcast is not intended for all audiences. Listeners under 18 years of age should obtain permission from your parent or guardian before downloading. Tell your therapist if you're predisposed to whining, complaining, reading podcasts poorly, being overall combative, or being easily offended, as One Nothing Podcast might not be right for you.
So stop letting great content pass you by. Talk to your therapist today to see if One Nothing Podcast is right for you.
On his way down from the office, Ruth apologizes to Russell, asking him not to be mad. He says he's not mad, he's just other things. Ruth tells him that his job is important to her. Russell says that except the job ended and now it's just make-believe work created by a crazy lady who clearly doesn't want her to go home. Ruth tells him that she's getting a divorce and it's complicated. You're damn right it's complicated. Now tell him the truth. Russell tells Ruth to him it looks like she's a really nice person who is being taken advantage of by her friend. Ruth is beside herself and answers back with no, she's not. She tells him that Debbie and herself are both highly ambitious people and she's sorry if that makes him uncomfortable. Russell, again, is hurt. He says, right, thanks for that. He tells her it's fine, she can keep working, and leaves as he heads out the door. At the KTV station, Sam is watching a playback of Cherry's last shot that they filmed at the police station where Cherry was saying her lines robotically. Cherry asks Sam what is she going to do. Sam says it's not her fault. She wasn't trained as an actress because she's a stunt woman and physically the best he's never seen. But when it comes to words and emotions, they're just not connecting. They're just separate pieces. And maybe with a few years of coaching and classes, she's not there now, and she's not a lead. And that's why they're trying to change her hair and cutting her lines. They don't know how to fix her. Cherry is sad and asks if they're going to fire her because she doesn't want to get fired. Sam looks at her, at his sad Cherry, and the scene changes to Sam on the phone with Glenn Klitnick and the douchey director Hollander, saying that he knows there's a conflict of interest because they're on the same network, but he wants Cherry back because he can't make Glow without her. Glenn asks about Chambers and Gold, supposed to be a two-hander. Sam tells them to retool it, make it about a police detective whose partner gets brutally murdered in the first scene, but she has to continue on and pledges to avenge her partner's death, and call it something like Good as Gold. Klitnick and Hollander are quiet for a moment. Hollander leans into the speakerphone and says that he can work with that. Sam says of course he can, and hangs up, calling himself a genius. Keith is happy he gets Cherry back on the show. Next scene, Melrose is clutching her stomach, yelling that it's a nightmare that she's still constipated. She asks Jenny how she's going to have sex tonight, that she's so full of shit that there's no extra room for a dick. She really thought adult baby Carmen was going to knock it out of her when she splashed her. Jenny is putting on her earring while telling Melrose that too bad she didn't take her up on her offer on her grandma's cure. She could be having so much sex right now. Melrose says fine to tell her about this ancient Chinese cure already. Jenny corrects her, Cambodia. Melrose asks if she's going to brew her some herbs, and Jenny says, sorta. She goes to the bathroom, takes out an enema pump. Melrose yells that it's not a fucking secret cure. Enemas belong to the Jews, pointing at herself. Jenny asks if she wants it or not. Melrose says, fine, do it, and pushes her into the bathroom, while Jenny is surprised that she has to do it. Melrose lifts her robe and bends down, saying if she wants that jacket, she's going to stick that thing in her ass and pull the trigger. Jenny's disgusted, but says she's a slave for fashion. Cut to the back of the jacket, and as the camera zooms out, we see the pool party and everyone having fun, but still following Jenny, who is now wearing the jacket. The camera catches a few men doing cannonballs in the pool. Sheila drinking from the pool. Carmen squeezing a headlock on one of the guys, and again back on Jenny, and she keeps walking. Phil grabs Jenny from behind, thinking it's Melrose because of the jacket. She turns around and says, oh, hey, it's you. He smiles and tells her she's hot also. Jenny whispers that this jacket rocks. Everyone's having fun. Sheila is yelling, go, 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 go. Yolanda is dancing with Artie. The sisters are making out with one guy, and finally, Melrose makes it to the party in a Madonna-inspired fancy blue dress. She looks on as Jenny is making out with Phil. Melrose gets upset, saying that should have been her, and throws a fit. Back in Sam's office, Debbie is still narrating and editing her lines. She turns to look behind her, and Ruth is bored out of her mind. Debbie is finally done and says that will be do it. Ruth looks up and asks what time it is. Debbie responds 10 or, I don't know, late, who cares? Ruth gets up and asks Debbie if she wants to get some food and celebrate their successful collaboration. She is excited that she got to work with her best friend again. Debbie says it was a PSA. Carmen wore a diaper. Please don't romanticize it. She gets up and grabs her purse and is about to walk out. Ruth suggests they can go to Dupar's. They're open late. Debbie says she has to get home. Ruth says she thought maybe she didn't want to go home. Debbie says she has to let the babysitter go, and she is losing money every minute she stands there talking to Ruth, who looks like her mom just yelled at her. Debbie then adds in sorry she missed her date with Russell as she walks out the door. Ruth's face drops and slightly looks into the camera as Debbie's walking down the stairs. The scene goes black and end credits. And that's it. That was upsetting. Okay, so besides the B story, which was Melrose and her constipation, I thought this episode went by really fast. It clocked in at 26 minutes, and it felt fast-paced. It felt different. This one was different than the other episodes. Perhaps it had to do with the segues of one scene after the other. The part where Ruth's offering to help Devi and immediately turns into Ruth and Devi in Sam's office trying to come up with a story to PSA, but they can't type. So cut to Sheila typing on the typewriter. Fast paced. I loved it. Keith checking in on Cherry and helping her with her lines and then going straight to the hallway of the police station. That was beautiful. While they're filming the PSA, Keith arrives and takes Sam with him, but let's continue filming the PSA. And then finally, the shot of the back of the jacket after Jenny helps Melrose with her constipation. It was a beautiful episode. Both the writing and directing were amazing. It was fun. It was funny. I mean, other than the poop jokes and Carmen in the baby diaper, the show was fun. I enjoyed it. Did I mention this episode went by fast? Because it did. Alright, another episode of Glow is up. Hope you come back next time. I'm doing a bonus episode. You're going to have to listen to know what it's about. But it's something I've been wanting to work on for a bit since I found out we were losing Tumblr Live. So hopefully you get to hear that. Plus more Glow episodes in the weeks to come. Before I go, I get that WrestleMania season just started. Cody Rhodes is pointing up to the sky, probably. I'm going to get to that pretty soon. I need y'all to be patient with me. If both Bayley and Cody are pointing at the WrestleMania sign, there's only one sign that I will be pointing at, and that's the 10K sign. You guys don't know about that, the 10K sign, do you? As of this episode, y'all, I'm sitting at 9,445 downloads. Whoever listened to the podcast on the 1st of February gave me an extra 70 downloads boost, so I thank you for that, whoever you are. But I've been wanting to celebrate this moment since last year, and it's coming up. 515 more downloads until I get to 10K, and I can point at that sign. So I need your help, Fatherless Behavior Squad. Keep listening to those episodes, send them to friends and family. Make sure you give the show a follow, subscribe, and be a part of the Fatherless Behavior Squad, because as soon as 10K happens, we're going to celebrate on the show and on TikTok. So let's go and make it happen. As always, follow us on our socials and support us from Under the Apron on Instagram, the Threads, YouTube, Apron_stories on the Twitter. Follow me and join my live streams on TikTok at Evolution of a Geek, where you will also find me doing the unedited version of the podcast that will then be posted on YouTube. More on that later. I still need to work the stuff. Listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or any other media you can listen to podcasts on. More info on the links on where you can listen or watch in the show notes. Don't forget to rate us and leave us a review. And if you feel you want to do a little bit more, go to patreon.com/From Under the Apron Podcast. Support us on the Patreon, become a top tier patron, and get patron privileges. And I'll shout you out at the end of every episode, like Babel B, Menace Smiling, Chanel from the Nerds in Texas Podcast, Cloudy November from the No Suspenders Podcast, Wheeziest Suit from the Life of 30-Year-Old Podcast. I'll have the link to these podcasts in the show notes so y'all can check them out. Big shout out to my Fatherless Behavior Squad who show up to the live stream to watch the podcast. Menace Smiling, Lee Linguini, The Darkest Queen Rose 004, Kimmy, Toasted Bagel, Moth Queen, This Girl, 662.d.montana, Not JJ the Jet Plane, it's JJ the Jet Plane, Rabbit, oh y'all know Rabbit, my Rabbit, Tiffany the Fence Girl, Aquarius TV, Spooky Spice, Collector of All Things Sentimental, Lil Miss LB, Miniature Mommy, Age of Shadow 666, Princess and the Weed, Brando 1976, Cheshire Cat Smile, Forever Jane, KGP 24, Richard F 713, Brown Dog, Undercover Kit Kat, Eelsberry 10, Mike West 92, Sahara the Darkness, E Bunny 06, Angela Carmona, Donovan Forrest, Mander, Apes Nursing 2411, and Pleasure Passport 3.0. If I haven't said it yet, I did say it earlier, but I'll say it again. Get 20% off on adult toys when you enter discount code EVO at pleasurepassport.shop. That's discount code EVO at pleasurepassport.shop. Link will be in the show notes. Thank you guys for supporting the podcast, either on the Patreon, patreon.com/Roman Game Podcast. Or if you watch live on TikTok, get your name shout out. Support the podcast. Check out the show notes for links to other podcasts. Right, that you heard in this episode. Send us a message with favorite wrestling stories, questions, comments, ratings, or requests at our email. It is FromUnderTheApron@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, joining us live, and being a huge part of this community. Tell your friends. Join us next time for more behind-the-scenes stories, movies, and TV show reviews when we come to you from Under the Apron. I'm Evo. I'm proud of y'all, and I love your faces. We're going to 10K, baby!